Hey guys, Sean T. Phillips here with my brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. They're gonna go out, see what things came out today, see what things are on sale. Also probably gonna go to a couple thrift stores or two today as well to see if I can find, any out-of-print DVDs or Blu-rays. Also, those of you who are wondering, the thing that I, ordered for the Blu-ray from Canada last week, it still didn't arrive yet, but it was a movie though that I can't believe, got released to Blu-ray, but then it got like recalled from shelves. And I'm just like keeping my fingers crossed still that it arrives. It says it shipped like last Monday, so I'm still waiting on it. Really had hoped it was going to come today to show at the beginning of this video, but hopefully, it comes by next Tuesday and I can show it then. But it's one of those things, like I said, I can't believe there's a Blu-ray of it, and I'm still hoping that it arrives. Also, though, at the end of this video, gonna have a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some movies I received to review and talk about for you guys. So stay tuned for those at the end of this video, as well as this Saturday, gonna have my new DVD Blu-ray update video as well. So stay tuned for that as well. But anyway, though, guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And into today, the big thing that came out today was, 50 Shades Dark. And I saw the first 50 Shades of Grey, and that I think that came out to 4K today. I'm pretty sure that was the first day. But they have this only at Target edition here, which has like a unmasked more with 50 Shades free. No, this is the deluxe edition, which includes 30 minutes additional. I thought it said it had a mask in here. That's why I thought it was kind of funny. It says it has 50 Shades Darker wine stopper, wine charms, and party napkins inside of here. So there's all this like wine type stuff inside of this set, so that's kind of interesting. It's like I think it's like $4 more, yeah, or something like that. No, it's only $1 more for this one. So if you guys are interested in it, there are other ones only $24.99. This one's $25.99. I saw, like I said, the first 50 Shades of Grey. I thought it was okay. I'm sure at some point I'll see this one, but like not like super excited to see it at any big rush or anything. And I think this is out today as well, the 30th anniversary of the Untouchables. I'm pretty sure this was today as well. And also today, I know both of these ones came out today. Orange is the New Black Season 4 came out on, DVD and Blu-ray, and as well as the Sarah Jessica Parker, Thomas Hayden Church show, Divorce, the complete first season. I watched a couple episodes of this. It's actually a pretty interesting show, though. Other than that, though, I don't think there's too much else in here today. And it actually seems like that 50 Shades of Grey thing was like actually $5 more, I think. I think it was $19.99 for the regular Blu-ray, and then $5 more if you wanted like the napkin and the wine stuff. Into the Goodwill we go. It's funny, in here they have like a random like volume of My So-Called Life. I think this one went out of print, but I think this was normally like in a set with like 4 or 5 discs or something. This is like just like the random disc in here loose. But this one, you always kind of come across some random different stuff you don't see every so often. It seems like too, this one is one of the few locations of Goodwills that I've come across some out of print stuff, because normally Goodwill really checks their prices of stuff, so you very rarely come across things that are out of print, or if it is, they sell it like online. But this one seems to actually have the things in store, like stuff you don't normally come across as often and stuff. But been looking through here a while and haven't really come across anything that different today. This is like one of the only sort of different things I found here from Anchor Bay. This one called Diva. It looks like this one, there's like another one I think of this that came out after this, but I think this one's out of print. But this one doesn't look that interesting. But other than that though, didn't really see anything in here too different today. And outside of the pawn shop, they're giving away this amazing high-quality computer chair. Look at all the cushioning and the padding, and there's even like a freaky glove on there. That is a very strange chair. This chair has seen some action, and something's happened on it. I don't know what. Into the quality resale store we go. So we're taking a look and see if there's anything in here different. Everything in here is $2.99 each or 4 for $10. The thing that sucks is like I looked at one of the things I bought in here like a while back, a Criterion thing, and I got home and opened it up because I didn't look at it at first, and the discs weren't in it. So you really have to, in these kind of places, you really have to take these things and open them up and check. And someone behind me in here is composing with a keyboard. They're like making some really peculiar music. You sort of hear it back there. But we'll look through here though and see if there's anything in here different today. This place though, they like don't change it out too often. It ends up usually being the same stuff in here for quite a while, and then every so often you come in here and there's something new that they've kind of mixed in here. But we'll continue to look around in here and see if there's anything in here different. Why we hear this amazing keyboard composer music in the background. I don't think they're composing that. I think they're playing one of those free beat things on there. I don't know though. No, I actually think they were composing that. Yeah. So it gives it some tonal music in here to look around. This thing is always in here, this Marcus movie. I've seen this every time, probably for the last year and a half. It's just always in here, but not looking like anything in here too different. And one thing I did hear is they're putting out all the Mighty Ducks movies, but they're going those things that are like through the Disney Club, and I don't know how that thing works, like how that you pay for that thing, and if it works well if you just wanted to get these exclusive ones. Because I think I remember with the Disney Club you had to like buy a certain amount of them for full price or something in order to, like within a year or something like that, to make it work. Because they have gonna have all three of these on there. They have Cool Runnings exclusive Blu-rays on there. And one of my favorite ones that I feel like at some point they would put out was Shipwrecked, or that's like one of my all-time favorite ones. I feel like they're gonna probably release it like that, and then I'll have to get that Disney Club. I know you can get them off eBay, but they charge like $15 more than it. If any of you guys, are on that Disney Movie Club thing, let me know if it's worth getting, or if you can just kind of pick the things you want, or if you have to get all that other extra stuff in order to make it work. Well, I found one thing in there. I actually have this already, but this was $1, and this thing sells all over the place price-wise. For the real one, it's like $50 or $100, but this is just the disc. Luckily enough, I have the one at home too, with a case and the artwork. But just in case like anything ever happens to it, it's like a backup of this movie. This movie's got like a bad past behind it, but it's like it's actually a pretty decent, creepy clown horror movie called Clownhouse. But to find this in here loose for $1, you don't ever come across this in public or anywhere. This is like a real weird one. This movie too, it like got leaked in stores, and like a lot of stores put it out by mistake early, and that's the only way that the copies of this actually got out, because then MGM ended up like recalling it before it actually officially released. So just to come across this movie is very strange, and like I said, for $1, you might as well get it. And the dangerous mulch is still here. It's been here for weeks. I don't know what's going on with this dangerous mulch here. They're doing something, but into Walmart we go. And in here, like I said, 50 Shades Darker came out, but like it looked like, they had some kind of exclusives or something. Either they didn't put them out, or someone came in here and ravaged and like bought all of them up. I don't know. I think this might have been today as well, this WrestleMania thing. But other than that, really don't see anything else in here today. And I think these things are new here, these like vintage art series ones they seem to only be the DVD versions of these. I think they have like they're the original old DVDs, but with new slipcovers for like Don Knotts, The Love King, The Birds, Harvey, Psycho, Vertigo, Brass Bottles. And then this one has like this cover on it now, this 40 Pounds of Trouble. Like I got this one a couple weeks ago. I think this is one of those ones that was released as a burn on demand, and then it only at Walmart one, but now that has like a slipcover on them. So these are kind of cool, but like I said, these ones seem to only be on the DVD ones, and I think some of these ones might only be on DVD as well, like this Brass Bottle, and like I said, the 40 Pounds of Trouble one. And the only movie I saw this past weekend was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I actually really liked the movie a lot. I liked the first movie, but I felt like I liked this one a little bit more than the first film. I don't know, just all around the story and everything. And I also really loved, Kurt Russell in the movie. I'm not saying, what he does in the film for those of you who haven't seen it yet, but he has like a really cool role in the film, is in it a really long time. It's not like a small little cameo or anything. And also Michael Rooker, he actually had a bigger role in this one as well. And I always think of him as, the crazy father, and, Mallrats, and mainly like my favorite thing he ever did was a movie called Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, and he was so creepy in that film. But he had like a really big role in the second film, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. All around though, I really liked it a lot, and definitely interested in seeing where they go with the series. And I think they're gonna have the characters be in the next Avengers movie. I don't know for certain if that's confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that they are. But anyway though, guys, if you let me know below what you guys thought of the movie, if you guys got to see it, any movies though you got to see this past weekend as well. Into Best Buy we go. And in here, they're 50 Shades of Grey. They have like a double pack 4K one, but it's $44.99 if you want both movies on 4K. But they have in here an exclusive, you know, only a Best Buy Steelbook packaging one of this one. So that's kind of a cool Steelbook one of that. That's $19.99, so it's the same price for the Steelbook as the regular edition one in here. So that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping today. Nothing major out today. It was cool to find that Clownhouse thing for $1, because that really is something I've never seen anywhere in person. I actually, the one that I got years ago of it, I got it at a Saturday matinee that put the movie out like a week or two early. That was the only reason I was able to get that years ago when it first came out, but I've never seen it in any thrift stores, never seen it like in any rental stores, so never really come across it anywhere. So it's just kind of cool to see it, even though it was just the disc. Like I said too, be sure this weekend, you know, this Saturday, to be on the lookout for my new DVD Blu-ray update video. Like I said, that'll be up this Saturday morning. Anyway though, guys, now stay tuned for a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got from Lionsgate is Duck Dynasty, the complete series in this brand new box set, which has all 11 seasons of the show. The show, you know, has just recently ended, and it has 130 episodes of the show. It has all the specials, you know, the wedding, the holiday specials, all that. So it's all the episodes together in one set. And if you guys don't know the show, it's basically though about this family that got really, you know, made all their money making these duck calls, and it's a reality show kind of following them around, going out into the swamps, and they're kind of like out there going on kind of weird adventures, and deals with like some of their weddings and kind of family issues and all like the trips that they've taken, so all that kind of stuff. And the one brother is like the funniest one. Like he's like the one, like I've only watched episodes here and there of this show throughout the years. You know, it started in 2012. Like I said, like it's just recently ended. I don't know if they're going to bring it back like in a different form, you know, following around some of the other family members, or how they're going to do it for sure. But you know, it went on for a really long time, had a really, you know, long run, and you know, it was very successful too. You know, they had like all kind of products for the show, you know, lots of different stuff, some Walmarts and stuff. So you've seen lots of stuff like the toys and all kind of like the ducks and all that kind of stuff throughout the years, you know, because like I said, it's been a hugely successful show. Probably one of the biggest things on A&E. And I'll show you guys too how this set opens. It's got like a magnetic thing on the bottom, and inside you can see there's a picture of the entire family in here, and it's in a set like this. Pretty cool thing that opens up like this, and I'll show you guys the discs and stuff in here. But like I said though, it has all 11 seasons as well as like the holiday specials and all that stuff in here. So it's season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4. So this is like a look at all the discs, and then season 6, 7. This is one of the holiday. I think this is one of the holiday ones. Season 9. 10, and then 11 was 11 is also available as well if you guys have all the other seasons in its own, you know, single season set as well. But if you guys are a fan of this show, it's definitely really cool to have like the entire series all together like this in one set. The next one from Lionsgate as well is a new film called Mermaids Tale, which stars, you know, Jerry O'Connell and Barry Bostwick is in this as the grandfather. Barry Bostwick was recently just in, you know, Bigger, Fatter, Liar, and, you know, he's from, like, Rocky Horror Picture Show, lots of different stuff. He's been doing a lot of movies lately. Like I said, it's a movie called Mermaid's Tale, and it's basically about Jerry O'Connell and his daughter. They're moving to this small, like, fishing community, small town. He moves there with his daughter, and, like, it's kind of like this small town. She has to kind of like deal with living there and doesn't want to leave where she was living before. It's this small kind of California kind of coastal town, and she was living in a big city type area. So she moves out there and doesn't really want to have to be in this kind of environment and want to be there. I always liked Jerry O'Connell though. I feel like this is one of the first times I really saw him like in a movie playing a father. Like, I don't know if he's been in other movies playing fathers, but like, I don't know. I always think of him as kind of like, you know, from Piranha, and then like, you know, of course, Stand By Me when he was a kid, and like, Kangaroo Jack was one. I know people didn't like that movie that much, but I don't know. I always think of it as kind of like either like kind of goofy kind of roles and then some serious type stuff. But I think this was kind of different for him. Like I said, playing a father in this, but she, you know, moves out there, and like she's got you know, this kind of curmudgeon-y grandfather who's out there, who's like the fishing guy, and like she kind of has to deal with him. But it's basically though the movie is her becoming friends with a mermaid out there, and there's like a community of mermaids. It's kind of like sort of like that movie Aquamarine, and they made a couple other movies like things like I think an Australian it's like TV series called like H2O and stuff like that. And it's like that same kind of vibe to this one, but it's kind of her and like the mermaid is kind of helping her with things and stuff like that. It's definitely more of a movie for kids, but if you guys are interested in like a movie like this and like a mermaid thing, and the mermaid stuff like swimming in the ocean stuff was actually pretty well done though, because like the movie when it relies so much on that, they actually did a pretty decent job with that. And I always like I said, Barry Boswick. He kind of plays a lot of like over the top kind of roles lately, and I don't know. I always think like I said I even liked him in that Bigger Fatter Liar recently. The next one here is the brand new director's definitive edition of Heat, the Michael Mann film. This has on here over an hour of all new extras on here. It has the Academy panel, Q&A with Michael Mann, the director. Always like Michael Mann stuff. He does like really like intense stuff. He did like Manhunter, which I really love. Manhunter. I feel like that one is kind of underrated because you hear people talk about Silence of the Lambs a lot more, but I think they're both like really, really good movies. Silence of the Lambs is like a step up a bit, but I don't know, the music and everything and the whole vibe of that is a really cool film. This is like, if you guys don't know this film, it's basically about a heist, and Al Pacino's character is kind of trying to get to the bottom of who did it, and it's Robert De Niro's gang who have pulled off this massive heist, and he's trying to get to the bottom, basically put the squeeze on them to get the information because he believes that they were involved. And of course, you know that they were, but he's like trying to get to the bottom of the whole thing. It's an extremely well done movie. And it's also it's one of the movies, too, that definitely inspired the movie The Town. It's got the sort of similar type feel to it. The Town did as well. But like I said, though, this one has also the features from the past releases. And this is also, I'm pretty certain, too, it's a brand new transfer of the movie as well. I'm pretty sure about that. And it has also some of the past features like the Making of the Heat 3-part documentary, deleted scenes. So if you guys are a fan of this movie, definitely interested in checking this one out. Like I said, it's a brand new edition here with the new features as well. And the next ones here are all from E1, and I'll put the link below for you guys can get these ones. This is one called Joker's Poltergeist, and this has Eric Roberts and Martin Kove in it. This is actually kind of an interesting concept. It's basically, though, about this, they were having this film screening, like a premiere of this movie with these kind of clown characters in it, and at the screening, someone there went and, dressed like these clown characters, and they were shooting people that was in the theaters, and then, like, the father who ran this old theater that it was filmed at, the movie that it was filmed at, and he ended up getting killed. And the daughter survived, and a lot of other people passed away there in this theater. And she basically, this is like a year later, they're trying to open up the theater again, and they really don't know who was behind these killings in the past. They kind of think they know, they don't know for certain, and they're kind of trying to open up the theater again. But of course, though, right when she's getting to the point of it's just about to open, she starts like seeing things, and she doesn't know if she's kind of going crazy or she's imagining that she's seeing these clown characters, throughout the theater, while she's working on it. And she's also going to have people who survived the attack kind of come back there and for the opening. And when they're doing that, though, things start to go terribly wrong. And Eric Roberts is in this movie as like kind of like you see him like on the TV. Like they do an interesting thing where they kind of project like sort of stuff that would be through like the webcam or stuff on the videos on the screen in the theater. So it's kind of a cool thing they were doing. Like it was a way of getting people, because I feel like Eric Roberts might have has shot his stuff on his end and then sent it in. I don't know for certain, but it kind of like was an interesting way of doing that. Same with Martin Kove's stuff. I don't know for certain if that's how they were doing it, but it kind of had that feel to this. It was definitely an interesting concept, and it was also set all in this like old time theater, so it definitely had like a cool setting to it as well, having it all in that movie theater. The next one here from E1 through INT, ITN Distribution, is a movie called The Cure. This is another one that had a pretty cool concept, like something that I have never really had seen before. This exact type of premise, and it was about this company that was working on a drug for people who had cancer, to kind of to help people who the side effects and stuff like that, through it. But it turns out, though, that this company had years before actually found the cure for cancer, but they didn't want to release it because their company was so big on the drug that was for, the chemotherapy drug, that the company kind of buried away the cure because they're like, well, if we release this cure into the world, then it's going to ruin us and we're going to go bankrupt because it doesn't matter that there's a cure is here. We want to keep our chemotherapy drug on the market. So it's, this is like discovered earlier on in the film, and then years later, there's a girl who's working there with her boyfriend at the facility, and she had a lot of stuff happen in the past with her father getting sick with cancer. So it's really important to her to work on this chemotherapy drug there and get it to the level that it needs to be, because they're getting ready to launch this brand new chemotherapy drug. But when they're doing like testing and stuff, the one guy who works at the company has kind of like done this heinous stuff. He works for the head boss, and they're doing these tests and injecting people with cancer, and it goes terribly wrong. And the one guy who works there gets injected with it, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta cure me now." And he ends up going through the computer and saying there's actually a cure for cancer. And then the woman finds out about it, who works there, and wants to let it out into the world. And the head of the company finds out about this, and it's basically what happens, with her trapped in the building and what goes on. But like I said, it was a pretty interesting concept of kind of something that that you could almost imagine happening, finding a cure for a certain thing, and a company doesn't really want to let it out because it would ruin them for what they already have. So definitely an interesting kind of horror thriller type film here. The next one here from E1 and Momentum Pictures is one called Devil in the Dark. It's another one I was really interested in watching, and it's about, and it cuts in the beginning to someone out in the middle of the woods and getting lost, and like a reoccurring theme here. And it's these two brothers who have not seen each other in years. The one brother kind of lives in the city. The other brother still lives in the country where he's always lived with his family. And the brothers really haven't seen each other in years and years and years. They've kind of had falling out throughout the years, and they've come together to go out on this kind of hunting trip out in the woods. And the one brother too, it's kind of weird that he wants to do it because he hates hunting, but he kind of really, really wants to see his brother again after all these years and kind of reconnect. And his one brother has children, so he kind of wants to be able to see his brother's children and all that thing. So they end up going out and camping in the woods. It's kind of them going out there and, they having kind of their scuffles with each other and arguments about why you do this and why you do that. But of course, when they get out there, they start feeling like there's some kind of a presence or something around them out in the woods, and weird things start to happen. They're trying to figure out what's going on out there, and if they're kind of imagining it, or the one brother's just trying to kind of give the other one problems and stuff like that. It was an interesting thing when you don't know what's going on out here, and trying to figure out what is actually out there, if there is something out in the woods. And it kind of cuts back and forth too to kind of things that had happened to them in their past. And the last one from E1 as well is a movie called Cabin Fear. This one, I like this one because it's one of those horror movies that doesn't take itself fully seriously, and it's got a real comedic kind of vibe to some of the characters and just some of the dialogue and stuff. And I always kind of like comedy horror movies sometimes a lot. Sometimes they're more fun to watch with certain types of films, and this movie is definitely has more some kind of comedic stuff, like this one old guy that lives out in the woods. And after recently watching The Greasy Strangler, the old guy was kind of reminding me of The Greasy Strangler, but it's a movie called Cabin Fear. And it's about, these friends that were going out to the woods for a wedding. The one friends were getting married out there in this really small, ceremony out in the middle of the woods. And they had this really quirky, weird guy who was marrying them, who was kind of just lived out there in the woods, but he was an ordained minister. So it's a quirky, weird thing about them getting married. But of course, though, when they get out there, though, weird things start to go on. The one guy, right in the beginning of the movie, you see him after the wedding gets killed, and he's gone missing, and they got a fight with the guy, so they're all kind of wondering where he is and if he's okay, because he kind of vanished. And it's kind of them out there, and somebody is kind of taking them off one by one out there. And it's basically there's lots of movies like this, kind of cabin in the woods stuff happening. But the thing that made this kind of fun to me was it just had some real quirky stuff, and the old man character who owns the cabin, and just kind of weird stuff going on with them out there. But definitely a fun film here. The next one here, and this one is one of my favorite ones of this update. I like this a lot, the review portion of this video. This one is from Cinedigm, and this is a movie called Occupants. And I really like this movie a lot. The one actress in this does YouTube videos as well, but it's It's basically though about this couple that are, she's done some documentaries in the past, and she wants to do a documentary on what it's like if you were somebody who ate meat and you ate like processed foods and sugars and all that kind of stuff. And she wants to film her and her boyfriend, or her and her husband, doing a challenge of not eating any meat, only eating vegan, only eating raw foods, no sugars, no chips, no nothing like that. And they want to document it, so they put cameras up throughout the entire house, kind of documenting what happens. And she's even said stuff like, oh, she's heard rumors that if you do that to yourself and you change your whole diet, you can start to see like the spirit world, and other kind of weird things can happen like as a result of doing that. So of course though, when they film this and they start looking back at the footage of what they filmed of their documentary, something as weird is going on where they're seeing stuff from another dimension. So they're seeing their characters like versions of themselves, but the wife has dark hair and the husband has a totally clean shaved look, and he's like a totally they're like got a really weird attitude, the alternate versions of them, and they're real like negative and not very happy, sort of emo-ish kind of like. And it's kind of them following this and like watching the footage as they film something, then they look back on it and they see the footage from the alternate reality versions of themselves. And I like that kind of concept of the alternate reality. And the one Robert Picardo, and he was from a lot of the Joe Dante films, a lot of different films he's been in throughout the years. But he's in there as kind of the friend who is like kind of the scientist doctor who's kind of talking him through the footage that he's seeing and thinking about like what his take on the whole thing is. But I actually liked this one. I liked it. It was a very different movie, not like something I'd seen before, and I liked the alternate reality thing of them kind of looking at the footage and seeing, because things start to go for a weird turn as they start looking at the footage and throughout the movie as it goes along. And the next one from Screen Media is a movie called Bokeh, I think that's how you say it. And it's basically though about a couple who go out on a trip to Iceland, and they're going out there. And then the one night when they go to sleep, they wake up and everyone has gone missing. They have no idea exactly what has happened, if it was like the rapture, but all they know is that it's themselves there, just both of them, because they're getting on the internet. Nothing on the internet's been updated. They're going through the town. There's absolutely nobody there. And it's kind of them dealing with this, finding out that, everyone's gone missing. But then at the same time, they're kind of questioning, like, is it maybe only happening here? Is there some kind of something that happened in Iceland, and there's something going on, and it's making it so they can't get the nothing will update like the internet and the phones. It's kind of them, panicking about it at first too, and then kind of what they start to go through as the film goes along. But it's 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 extremely well shot movie, well acted, and it's pretty much though just them going through the film though, and the boyfriend is kind of messing around. She's getting like real paranoid about like, if you get hurt, what's going to happen? No one can help you. And the main actress though is from the film It Follows and the recent Independence Day Resurgence, so she's been in tons of different stuff, and she's always really great. And I actually like this. Like I said, it was I always like these kind of not really post-apocalyptic, but kind of like Last Man on Earth type movies when it's like the only characters in the film, like the Quiet Earth was another one. I don't know. I always like these kind of things, and you're kind of wondering, like, is anyone else going to be here? Are they going to find anybody else? Are they going to figure out what exactly has happened? But definitely a really interesting movie here. And the next one from Strand Releasing is a movie called Love Song, starring Jenna Malone and Riley Keough. Riley Keough was recently, in American Honey. Jenna Malone, I've been a fan of for years, ever since Donnie Darko, but she's been in lots and lots of movies. Like I said, it's a movie called Love Song. It's basically, though, about Riley Keough's character, who's, this mother who's dealing with her child, and, like, her husband's always away. And her friend, played by Jenna Malone, kind of comes back around to visit. They haven't seen each other in years and years. She comes back around, and it's kind of like, basically the way to explain it is, though, they kind of have like this sort of fling with them. They kind of always have sort of liked each other, but it's kind of like, it never really came into anything until this time when she came to see her, in the beginning of the film. And it's basically, though, like, what they it's one of those movies too that was kind of like sad. It had a very, very sad vibe. The director's other movies, she did that movie with Paul Dano and John Heder was in it. It had the same kind of a sad type vibe. It's one of those movies where people like you really hope they kind of get together, but then they have circumstances in their lives that kind of make it so they can't. And it's, you know, it's kind of like what happens after they actually finally end up together this one night, and it kind of the direction that it goes. And that's really all you can say about it. But it's just a really very intimate, like, character piece film. They both really carry this whole movie, and a really, you know, great job in this, you know, in the film. I really like this one a lot. Like I said, I'm a big fan of both of them, especially Jenna Malone, and I thought it was just a very, very well done movie here. And I really like the director's other movie as well. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but like, I know it was Paul Dano, John Heder, and it was kind of him, like, you know, like a Paul Dano's character was real depressed in this town and stuff. The next one here from the Warner Archive collection is a movie called The Loved One. This is a very quirky, way ahead of its time type movie, and it's basically about this guy came from England to see his uncle, and I'm pretty sure it was his uncle who's like works at this film studio and is like really successful and has all this money and stuff. Of course, though, when he's there working on his new movie, he ends up dying, and then you know, the guy who came from England has to deal with his uncle's funeral. So he ends up going to this funeral parlor to try and get all the things in order and figure it all out. And it's kind of like he's over there in, you know, in America now, and he, you know, it's kind of like his first encounters of things that he's seeing, and it's this really peculiar funeral home with these weird eccentric characters and all this odd stuff going on. So he's there trying to plan the funeral, and the people that he meets, and he starts like working there, and there's like a pet cemetery. There's all these weird, over the top, kind of quirky characters. A lot of like tons of people who are in this one. Who are some of the people who are in this? Jonathan Winters, and then a lot of like you know, cameos in here with like Milton Berle and stuff like that, and Tab Hunter. But this is like a really fun, like I said, ahead of its time, quirky film. The next one here is a movie from Breaking Glass Pictures, and it's a movie called Breakdown Lane. And this is another one that had a pretty different concept about a woman who is driving, trying to drive home to her boyfriend. And, you know, she's driving through the desert, and like right in the beginning of the movie, though, you see this, she goes into this, like, this trailer, and there's like a weird guy who's real sick in there, and, you know, it's like in the very beginning of the movie. It's one of those movies, though, I think like stuff was sort of shot to kind of make the movie longer. So like there was some stuff I didn't feel like totally fit in some ways. It was almost like she was dreaming it or something, and some of it was like a little bit like in a weird way, like some of it, because like some of the stuff looked like there was like this pixel on the screen. It looked like they might have been using a different camera. I might have been reading into it too much, but the essential story, though, is she goes out into the middle, driving through the desert, and her car ends up breaking down, and she ends up calling like an OnStar type thing in the car, and the guy's like, "Oh, how can I help you?" And she's like, "Oh, I've broken down," and he's like, "No, don't worry, I'll send someone to get you." So you know, you're out in the middle of nowhere, though, so it's going to be a couple hours so the trailer can, you know, can tow you away. But of course, though, when she's out there, it turns into like hours and hours and hours, and there's a zombie outbreak going on outside the car. So it's her talking to the OnStar kind of guy, but what she's going to do. But then, like, there's, like I said, there's some weird stuff that happens, like these group of these like bikers that come, but then like, you know, something happens with the bikers, but then she kind of doesn't mention the bikers again when she's with the OnStar guy. Like I said, I felt like some stuff was getting shot and added to this, to like, I don't know, I couldn't tell exactly what was going on, because they even said in here like special guest director, so I couldn't figure it out. Like, it was like I was kept on trying to read into it a little more than I probably should have, about like what was shot and what was added and stuff like that, because it just had that kind of feel. But there is even a thing in here too with a mall scene, which was kind of cool. I don't know, I like this though. Like I said, I think the stuff in the car was the strongest. The stuff in the actual desert with her. The main actress was recently in a movie called Beginner's Guide to Sex, which had a couple other titles, but that was like the release title, which was a really pretty cool movie, a really funny movie. I liked it a lot. She was also in the Birdemic films, which I've actually surprisingly never seen. But it's, you know, I kind of like this one. Like I said, if anyone involved in the movie, then let me know below, like, like how it was kind of added, because I'm just kind of curious about it. The next one here from Umbrella Entertainment. This one is a Australian release, and this one, a lot of the releases are, you know, region free, but this one is a you know, not a region free one, so you guys need a region free disc player to play this one. But it's a movie called Teenage Kicks. This one was really, really good. This is another one of those movies in this update. Next to The Occupants was one of my favorite ones, and it's basically, though, about these two friends and they're kind of planning to move away out from where they're living, and it's kind of the one is like seeing this one girl, the other guy is kind of dealing with his what terrible thing that had happened because his brother had ended up getting killed in a car accident, and his family is like really kind of like cold to him and really kind of blaming him for what had happened and kind of almost wishing that he wasn't there because the brother had was doing all this work for the family, helping them with their garden, helping them with the store, and like really like helping it with everything. And the brother, though, the younger brother, really isn't doing too much, and he's kind of exploring his it's kind of a coming of age thing with him and his sexuality, and he's kind of sort of has a thing for his friend, and he kind of doesn't really know what like how he feels about anything. So it's kind of him going through all these kind of problems in his life, along with his family. They're kind of giving him all these no ends of problems, and it's kind of just like a coming of age movie. It's probably one of the best of these kind of movies about a coming of age film with like a gay character subject to it. Think since Get Real, which was one of my favorite ones of that type of subject matter. Get Real, that was an amazing movie, but this was really, really well done. And I don't know. I think this one was one of those movies too where you kind of like wish it could go on. You kind of want to know what goes on with the characters and stuff like that. It was just a really, really well done, well acted movie. And like I said, this is an Australian film too. I don't know when it will come out, like for like a U.S. release one. But if you guys do have all region, I definitely recommend you guys check this out. The next one here is a movie called The Spaghetti Man, which is a really ridiculous. And this one though is from Umbrella Entertainment as well. But this is an all region disc, so you don't need a region free play or anything to play this specific one. And this movie, like I said, called The Spaghetti Man, and it's basically about this guy who is microwaving spaghetti, and something happens with the thing exploding, and he gets these radioactive waves, and he becomes like this superhero and has the ability to shoot spaghetti out of his hands. And he's like a guy who's kind of like a trying to get money, and he basically wants to try and be a superhero for people, but only for money. So people have to pay him for doing it, and it's kind of him like trying to have this business of being a superhero because he's like needs money to pay for his rent and all these kind of problems that he's having. And he's basically a superhero for hire, and he puts his bag on his head and fights people with spaghetti, and like I don't know, it's just a absolutely ridiculous movie. But I kind of like this one a lot. The one I forgot to mention too, the Occupants one, has a bunch of features on here. It has a commentary track, and it had like 40 some minutes of behind the scenes stuff, which I thought was cool as well because I did watch through those, so I wanted to make sure to mention that. But the next one here is a movie from I think it's called Indican Pictures. I think it's Indican. I think that's the name of the company. I'll put the link below though for you guys can get this for sure. But it's a anthology movie, and they released one too. I can't remember what the name of it was. There's a past one, and but this one is called Galaxy of Horrors, and it's a horror anthology. And Rue Morgue also produces this as well. They put their name on this, and it's basically all like sci-fi, science fiction, horror shorts on here. It also has a bunch of bonus horror shorts as well, and it's basically a guy who's like in this space pod kind of thing, and he's being shown these different shorts. There's a whole bunch of different ones, and the thing is with horror anthologies and stuff like that is some shorts are better than others. With these though, for the most part, they're all really pretty well done, and they actually have really decent budget to them and stuff like that. My favorite one was this guy who had like a Siri type app on his phone, and he's burying this body of this woman that he killed, and he's like talking to the Siri, like, and then the Siri's like, "Did you kill that girl?" And then like it's basically like him out there talking to Siri, and it's kind of like Siri wants to get revenge on him for what he did. And I don't know, I thought that was kind of a cool different story. That was definitely my favorite one on here. But there was some really cool kind of had like City of Lost Children looks. So this one guy who had like this weird thing coming out of his head, like these tubes and stuff like that, kind of like that director's other films. He did like a science fiction movie. It kind of had that feel to this, but a really cool horror, like I said, all like horror science fiction type shorts on here. And the last one here is a movie called Alena, I think that's how you say it. And it's one I always like these kind of like school movies where it's like a really weird stuff happens. There was one school movie, I can't remember, like a school, like girls' school movie that had like these two girls, and I never remember the name of it, but it was like a really, really well done movie. But this is basically though about this girl who goes and to a new school, and they're giving him the girls there. It's kind of like mean girls kind of thing, and she goes there, and the girls are really terribly mean to her, and she's got this one friend who like lives at her house, and she's like saying, "Oh, you don't have to do this," and she cuts her hair one day, but she kind of gives her like the haircut of sort of like a Grimes kind of cut, if you guys know Grimes. Like it was like a cool like different look, but like in this school, because it's a Swedish film, everyone has like blonde hair and stuff like that, and you know they're giving her all kinds of crap about her new haircut. So everything is kind of goes wrong for this girl, and of course though when she's getting like beaten up by these girls, and these girls take things to terrible like awful levels of what they're doing. Of course though, somebody is like fighting her battles. So like when she's like in this room and they're doing terrible stuff to her, somebody ends up hitting the one over the head, and like terrible things start happening to the girls, and you're kind of wondering, is it her or is it somebody else? Exactly what is going on here? And she's like trying out for the lacrosse team, and like it's just, it's like I said, it's a Mean Girls type horror film, which I kind of liked, and it's just like terrible things start going on. And this one though, this is an American release and stuff though, but it is a Swedish film. But anyway though guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.